So we're going to go ahead and move on to our next segment. So our next segment, I think all speakers are on right now. Our next segment is something special. You want to get a 3-for-1, okay? 3-for-1, not one, not two, but three herbalists that are here. They're going to come on and they're going to share herbs and herbal recipes from their culture. This is I think it's a round table style called Medicine Share. Again, herbs and herbal remedies from our culture. Someone says, when is the break? Take it right now. If you need a break, go take a break. Do not sit here and deprive yourself of water in the bathroom. Please go and take a break. Yes, please make sure you're taking breaks throughout the whole segment. Again, the title of this next segment is Medicine Share Herbs and Recipes from Our Culture. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on all three of these amazing herbalists who all have so much to share, some knowledge to share. So think of this as, again, a relaxed roundtable style while giving you bits and pieces of things from our culture. Y'all, this has just been a great day. I am filled. Okay, let's go ahead and bring on everyone. So Francisca, Monique, and April, I'm moving you to the main webinar. All right, that's Francisca, Monique, and April. Hello, sisters. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, so many beautiful faces. Okay, Monique and Miss Headwrap. Yes, you are giving. April in these ways is giving. Francisca, always beautiful. I love this top. We showed up today. Okay. Love it. Thank you, ladies, for coming on and participating in this segment. So again, this is something different. This segment was birthed because these beautiful speakers answered the call to be a part of the conference. But again, we had already filled up all of these slots. But I'm like, this medicine, their knowledge needs to be shared. And so what way can I provide this opportunity for them to still share in this space? Because what they had to say was amazing. And so I created this segment, this roundtable, where you all can get their medicine and their herbs and recipes from their culture. Now, it may not be a full 45. We're going to jam it into this segment, and we're still going to be able to share with you some of the herbs and recipes specifically from their culture and our culture. So again, this is relaxed for all of you all. This is a relaxed roundtable style. We're going to have a discussion. Again, nothing too crazy. We're just going to ask a few questions. I would like to start by just asking you all to go around and introduce yourself. Just start with introducing yourself. You don't got to dive into your background just yet. That's going to be the next question. So just go ahead and introduce yourself, your name and your ancestral lineage and where you are currently located in the world. Let's see, Francisca.
Hello, everybody. I feel so happy and honored to be here today. Thank you so much, Abril, for putting all of this together. My name is Francisca Santibanez, and I am of Afro-Brazilian lineage. That is my blood lineage. I also practice vegetalismo and have my spiritual lineage with the Shipibo and Quechua and Queros lineage in Peru. So honored to be here. Thank you. Oh, and I am in what's currently now as Sebastopol, California, in Miwok and Southern Pomo land. Thank you.
Thank you, Francisco. Welcome, welcome. I'm just going to point to who I see next. April, go ahead and share.
Hello, everyone. Again, thank you so much, Abril. It's been amazing to be here and to listen to everyone speak. My name is April Ramey. I am African-American, Cherokee Native, and Eastern Slavic, so Russian, Jewish, Ashkenazi. And I am living in Taos, New Mexico, which is the land of the Tewa people, Red Willow people.
Thank you. Welcome, April. So honored to have you. Go ahead, Monique.
Hi, I'm Monique. I'm the kitchen bruja, and my heritage is African American, um, Lati, Métis Mohawk, and Lakota Sioux American Indian, as well as Puerto Rican, Afro Puerto Rican, and Cuban.
And where are you in the
Oh,
world?
I'm in Detroit. I'm in Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit, hey family.
I know.
Welcome everybody. So again, this is a very relaxed way of sharing our medicine. Let's think of it as a conversation. I would love to dive more into, and it's probably going to go honestly pretty fast. I would love to dive more into your journey. So a lot of us, some people from here, they got a chance to come to the meet and greets that we hosted on our community platform. But a lot of people didn't. And honestly, this is the same thing as the meet and greets. So I would love to dive more into your Indigenous journey. So whether you were born into this or you learned about it later, what is your connection to this ancestral knowledge? Did you have to go find it? Or was it something that you were born into thanks to it being passed down from your ancestors? And we'll go in the same order that we just went into for everything.
Okay, thank you so much. This is such a rich and juicy question. Yeah, so much of my path as an herbalist has been this question around ancestry and to reclaim my ancestry. I was raised by a Chilean family, and I lived in both Brazil and Chile for the first 11 years of my life and came to the States then. And it wasn't until I was in my 30s that I started really my healing path and spiritual path with the plants. And I came to the plants because I actually got injured and got really, really sick and went to allopathic medicines, and they kept treating the symptoms, but never really getting down to curing the actual root cause of so many of the issues that I was having. So I was blessed to find the plants. And as I started working with plants, the spiritual realm just really started to open up for me. And I started to receive more and more guidance from the plants and from the ancestors directly. And so I was guided to return to South America after not being there for over 20 years and to start my ancestral journey, as I also was learning from the plants. And they said, you have to remember who you are, remember the plants, how we work with these plants. And so I was lucky enough to go back to South America, meet some beautiful community, and was led to this group that puts together gatherings of tribal gatherings, Raíces del Sur. And through these gatherings of tribes, I was able to meet some of my teachers from the Shipibo Kunibo lineage. And as I kept working with this Amazonian medicine and mountain medicine, what happened after about 5 years of working in this lineage is that I came to receive this download from the plants that I was not who I thought I was, and that my parents were not my parents. And I discovered through the plants that I was adopted, and that I did a DNA test. And I learned that I was Afro-Indigenous Brazilian. And my journey continues here with learning more and more about who I am and the medicines from my lineage. I feel like that was the call for me to go to South America and learn about the plants, is that the ancestors were calling me back home, So that's been my journey. And to this day, I practice South American folk medicine. And my work, my offering is deeply entrenched with ancestral healing work and reclamation work. You know, so I focus a lot on these sacred contracts that we have with lineage, with the ancestors, with the lands where we are led to for one reason or another. We end up in these different places and we bring our medicines from our roots to these new places. And so just exploring what is that contract there that we have with place, and how this too is part of our ancestral commitment, you know, to share our medicines. So thank you so much again for this opportunity to share, Abril. Yes, thank you.
For sharing. Thank you so much. April, would you mind sharing your journey with this medicine?
Yes. First, I just want to acknowledge your story, Francesca. That was so beautiful. Thank you. I have a lot of similarities, not the finding out I have different parents, but basically my lineage is that I wasn't born into it. In a way I was, but my grandmother was half Cherokee, half Black, and it was safer for her to choose to be Black than Native. It was the kind of the cultural thing that was passed down in Georgia at that time. And so a lot of my history comes from my grandma teaching me things in meditation. So she was teaching me through silence and being in presence and awareness. And I always spoke to the plants. My parents would tell me that I was speaking to plants and stars and cosmos and telling them information. They didn't know where I was getting it from. And I had a point in my life where I lost myself. I didn't know who I was. I forgot everything and turned to alcohol. And so I became an alcoholic of the greatest kind, very addicted, high functioning, lots of panic attacks, depression, living a life that wasn't my own. And then I discovered herbalism and that it was possible to even study it. And I knew immediately that was my path, that everything I had studied for business and knowing how to own my own business and everything was meant for me to do herbalism. So that sent me on a deep journey, again, of understanding my own ancestral lineage, to actually my father's side of my lineage, the Eastern Slavic, showing up after spending many, many years in Peru and Bolivia and Guatemala, learning from elders in the jungles surrounding ayahuasca and San Pedro. And then I was studying Western clinical herbalism because my lineage from my grandma's side and my mom's side, they were both Afro-Indigenous, and the Indigenous had been on this continent for over 400 years and then even longer. So learning the medicine of North America was really important to me. And but I also ended up getting called into South America for a long period of time. And through that, I had similar realizations through the plant medicines and them talking to me that I am meant, because I have this way of being led to specific lands and I don't know why. And so I just book a ticket. I don't even listen. I don't even research. I don't do anything. Or I get in my car and I go, and I end up in places where there are mountains, or meeting these random herbalists in jungles and mountains where they don't really have any kind of online platform at all. So I've spent a lot of time just wandering in the woods and jungles, meeting amazing teachers. And the land in the plants are my biggest teachers. And they have brought together and culminated this whole idea of healing through an understanding that my ancestral lineage is written within me. And so that by whatever I'm attracted to, whatever I'm being led through and to, is actually my ancestral lineage guiding me into the plant realm. So I have a background in clinical herbalism. I really enjoy clinical herbalism. I love the clinic style. It really makes me happy. I have a lot of science side of myself that feels really good and nourished in there. And then I ended up realizing through the sacred medicines that what I knew for integration was the key, was a big key, which is full plant medicine understanding. And so I've been bringing into the ceremonial world herbalism. So I call it psychedelic herbalism, where it's a psychedelic way of approaching herbs which combines clinical, which combines what I've learned from the land, what I've learned from the plants, what I'm learning from my ancestors in meditation. And I've been focusing a lot on flower medicine recently, flower essences for integration. And I think that's really connected to all of my lineages and all of our lineages, how important flowers are and how flowers have guided us into even wanting to learn from the plants in so many ways. And they're just speaking to us at the highest vibrational frequency. So yeah, that's a little short story. And herbalism has healed me and supported me in so many ways, from panic attacks, living depression, and living a life that wasn't my own, and finding my ancestral lineage through plants and land walks is what I like to call it, walking the land. So thank you.
Thank you so much, April. And I too resonate with the land and different countries calling me. Like literally, I get a call and I'm there. That's how it works. They're like, come to me. I literally was like, I want to go here. And I'm there now. I'm in the jungle somewhere foraging for herbs. I have that too. I don't know what phenomena that is. I don't know. I always say I'm called to, just like you, I'm called to other medicine, you know, outside of, you know, my Nigerian and Seminole heritage. I'm always called to learn other medicine. And I'm called to different places. And so I do resonate with that, because I literally have deep connection to all medicine and all cultures. So thank you so much for sharing. Let's move on to Monique.
Okay, so I too enjoyed hearing you guys' speech, and I want to say thanks, Abril, for inviting me here too, as well. I meant to say that at the beginning, but I'm truly grateful to be here. So I was raised, I'm an adoptee as well, so I relate to Francisca. I'm an adopted woman, and my mother who raised me, she was a hoodoo. She was a hoodoo woman, and I didn't know that it was hoodoo. Growing up, she didn't give it a name. It just was the way that she lived, you know. And we always had a garden. I grew up with a garden. I learned how to garden at a young age. When we were sick, there wasn't a lot of over-the-counter medications that were given. A lot of things was homemade. And then later, after I went on my spiritual journey and I started researching my roots, because, you know, you want to know where you come from. I found that my biological mother was American Indian and Scottish, and her family's from Ontario, Canada. My great-grandfather, her grandfather, he was a medicine man. They said that he used to make medicines back in the day for women who were going through the change, were going through menopause, and whatever he was making was better or gave better results to the women than what the doctors were giving at that time. So he was able to come to the States and sell his medicines. And then on my father's side of the family, that is Puerto Rican and Cuban, he was initiated into the religion that I practice now. My grandmother was a santera. She also was an espiritista, and she used to heal. She had power in her hands. She would heal with her hands. She would perform spiritual massages that are called sobos at her home in Puerto Rico. And they said that she would get up early in the morning, go get her herbs, and she would have like a line out the door, you know, like people from morning to night that she was healing. So for me, once I learned all of this, it just makes sense. It's like, it's how I was raised. It was in my blood. It was like, you know, I've always had a natural affinity to plants as a little girl, learning how to garden and work with the plants, talk to the plants, like April said, you know, is just something that I've always done. How I really started to take plant medicine, herbalism seriously was years ago. I had a health scare. And I was like, you know what? I need to detox my body. I need to get back to the old ways. And I really just started to take it seriously. Couple that with, I was going through a very toxic and abusive relationship that I had to heal from, which is an ancestral thing that I'm healing for my ancestral bloodline. I have a long line of women that have experienced the same thing. And, you know, when we are in pain, when we're hurting and suffering, we tend to turn back to those old ways, you know, our spirituality, tap into the religion, tap into those things. So that's kind of what I did. I started taking some classes on Udemy, and I got certified as an herbalist through Udemy, learning how to make tinctures and different tonics, decoctions, all of those things. and I would just started whipping up stuff in the kitchen, you know. And so that's my friend gave me the name, the Kitchen Bruja. She's like, "You're such a kitchen witch." I'm like, "You know what? That's right. It's true." And so I started making my own medicines, started making them for my friends, and they were like, "You know what? This works, right?" So I opened up my apothecary, which is called Honeypot Herbals, and I've traveled extensively. I've to meet shamans all over different lands. I've met with shamans in Costa Rica, Brazil in 2012 when I first started my spiritual journey, and that's where I went to the Orisha Museum and first, you know, really tapped into that. I've been to Egypt where I studied under one of my mentors, Queen Afua, who taught me that, you know, when you heal a woman, you heal a nation, and it's so true. And so she taught me all about womb health for women, which, you know, that's where our power comes from. That's our sacred seat. So I studied under her. I've lived in Mexico, met with the shamans there. Where else? Of course, Puerto Rico many times, Dominican Republic, Cuba, where my ancestors took me because I was going for a wedding and I ended up in Vinales on a huge farm where they were formally introducing me to tobacco, which is a plant that I worked with very closely in my tradition. I also studied under Brujo Sancita Luis, which taught me about the Puerto Rican medicine and the Tainos, the Semis, and initiated me into Puerto Rican voodoo. And then I also got initiated into Lukumi, which I had done that prior, but I got kind of off track, you know, just all over on my journey. But that's where I am now. So I practice Lukumi, and I've received my Osign, which is Osign is the Orisha who has the secrets to all the herbs in the religion. It's the medicine man of Lukumi, the Yoruba. And I've learned how to use these herbs, identify them, how to heal. And I'm still learning. I'm forever a student. But my godfather who taught me is Manuel Ukiola. He's Oni Shango Oloju, and he's been learning these herbs since he was 9 years old. So I really feel that my whole journey, even though it's kind of been all over, is divinely, I know it's divinely guided. You know, we have misas, we have masses where we can tap in and we can actually speak and connect with spirit. And it's my grandmother on my father's side who pushed me towards this, which is why when I wanted to kind of like, I don't want to deal with it, I don't want to go there, it's like it calls me right back, because if you don't answer your calling, you're going to pay for it. That's for sure. So sorry to take up all the time, but that's pretty much how I got started. It's just always been something that's very just inherited, you know.
Thank you. People were mentioning in the chat, somebody said you came from a long line of healers.
Oh,
and I was
yes.
like, yes. You're like, Daddy did this, Mama did this, Mama did this. So it was in your blood.
Yeah.
I love that it was in your blood and you were able to come back to it and
Mhm.
really embody it in your own way. You being from such a diverse medicine background, and you're creating pretty much your own path and your own story based off of, you know, the healers in your life. And so pretty much what you practice is a combination, a culmination of everything.
Yes,
It's
yes,
thing.
exactly.
It's from everybody, and I love that. I think it gives light to a different way to practice herbalism. A lot of us think that, well, maybe we can only practice this way, or we can only, you know, do medicine from this culture. This medicine is infused in us from everywhere. And honestly, when you think back to it, when you think back to different cultures and how their medicine and their religion is set up, all of it borrows from different types of herbal practices and herbal religions when it comes to elemental herbalism and when it comes to energetics. It's all borrowed from, you know, a lot of different, you know, a lot of African medicine is borrowed and is adopted in other places in the world. You know, thinking of Egypt being the first, the first that has that medicine, and how people have adopted, you know, that way of medicine in different cultures. So I just think back to that and how, you know, we don't have to just, you know, stick with one thing. We can infuse practices of different culture. And we've had several herbalists here. I think Sister Yaya is someone who also infuses medicine from multiple multicultural culture. She's Haitian and Jamaican, and she lives in the Yucatan, and she infuses, traditional Mayan medicine within her practices. So thank you for sharing that. Someone asked who you were. We are going to be sharing their links shortly. She is Monique on Instagram, the Kitchen Bruja, but the admin will be sharing all of their links shortly. Admin, we did upload last minute April's links, I believe. Francisca, I'm not sure if your links are in there, but if not, admin will find it and we'll share those. I know you had a busy weekend, so we'll share those. But thank you all so much. I dive into this medicine. So I would love to dive into just some medicine or some herbs or some recipes from your culture, if you would like to just briefly share. And I would love to start with Francisca, if you would like to share any herbs, medicine recipes. We're here for all of it.
Thank you so much. Yes. I'm loving the stories. Thank you so much for your shares, April and Monique. So I would love to share with you all a traditional, one of my favorite recipes that I have learned from traditional folk medicines from Peru, where I spend a lot of my time learning from my teachers. And this recipe is for this drink that it's like it's a street drink. And the beautiful thing about this is that it's so accessible. It's called emoliente. It is a drink that is made from all these different herbs that are demulcents or emollients, which are the mucilaginous plants that soothe and repair tissue and the skin. They're anti-inflammatory, nutritives, and it makes it super accessible to everyone because, like I said, it's a street food. So you have a base that is the base that is made with barley and flax and aloe vera and honey. And then you can sit down and they serve you this hot drink, and then they pour whatever tonics you want for digestion, for your nervous system, if you're having trouble sleeping, or reproductive, like anything. They have all these different bottles that are set up with tonics for each system. And so I want to share with you this recipe that is like an all system tonic, because you can also get the full emoliente that has everything. And so what we do is first we fill a pot. And I just made this yesterday. I had a big event yesterday, and it's one of the things that we gave everybody. And it's one of those things that just like soothes and calms and grounds. So it was perfect for this event. So we fill up a pot, like a stock pot with about, 4 liters of water. And then we add 1 cup of barley, and barley is not gluten-free. So if you are gluten intolerant, you can also use another grain like oats. It could be a beautiful replacement. And traditionally, this drink has boldo, which we don't have here in North America, but I use nettles, which is super nutritive, with milky oats or oat straw for the nervous system. It traditionally has a horsetail, which is a great diuretic. It has milk thistle for the liver, hawthorn for the heart. And you cook all of this for about 45 minutes and let it like simmer. And then after about 45 minutes, you can add some flax seeds, and you have to add the flax seeds a little bit later, otherwise it sticks to the other ingredients. And you also add some pineapple peel, which also makes it an antihistamine, really great for allergies, and also the delicious taste of pineapple. And then you cook it down some more for maybe another 15 minutes or so. And by now you'll see that if you put a spoon in, like it becomes very mucilaginous, very gooey. And it is that function of that mucilaginous, consistency that makes it so healing for all of our inner tissue, all of our mucous membrane. So in our digestive tract, it's really good for respiratory issues as well. And then after you strain this, you strain all of the solid plants from that, you add aloe vera. You can get a whole leaf, and I just peel off the peel and just get the gel out. And I blend it a little bit with a little bit of water, because otherwise it can be chunky, you know. But if you blend it with a little bit of water and then pour it into this pot, and then add honey at the end, and you can add as much honey as you'd like to make it as sweet as you want. And you serve this drink hot. You know, it's really wonderful, especially for these changing seasons. Now, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, we're going into fall. So it's a great drink to have during fall and winter. And it's super soothing for me. Every time I travel down there, it's one of the first things that I seek, because it boosts my immune system and it really grounds me. And of course, you're also working with like honey, which I feel like honey is magic medicine that contains like all of the flavors of the area that the honeybees, you know, harvest their pollen from. So it's to me, there's something about the location, the medicine of that location that the honey brings. So that's the medicine that I wanted to share with you all today. Thank you, Avril, for this question. Love it so much.
So the clinical herbalist in me was like, "Ooh, all of the nutrients in this. We have the nettles, we have iron, we have silica, our hair, and it's gut health." So I'm just thinking, like, this literally tackles everything in the body, from the great gut health herbs, the great blood nourishing herbs, the herbs to help boost your immune system. It literally sounds like an all around tonic that you can take, like you said, in every season, when those seasons change, to help keep you healthy, even just, with the flax seeds and that aloe vera as well. Honestly, it sounds good for the skin too. Can I bathe in this? I mean, can I do an herbal bath in this? That sounds like something that would be a great herbal bath. Honestly, a hair rinse. Look, I'm just thinking of all ways that we can use this. As we got horsetail, we have nettle, we have aloe vera. That sounds like a conditioner to me, sound like a good conditioner. I love it. That's an amazing recipe. If someone is taking notes, can you all drop the herbs that she mentioned in the chat for you all? There's someone who actually has it, and they're going to drop it, all of it in there. But yes, I love that recipe. There we go.
Drop it. Yeah.
That was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that recipe. Can I get some feedback from the audience? What did you all feel about that recipe when you heard it? What was coming up for you? Again, I was just thinking of all the different ways I could use it. I'm just like, okay, for my hair, for my skin, my gut health, okay, boost my immune system. Yeah, if you all could drop in the chat and just share your feedback about that amazing recipe that Francisca provided. Yeah, she's like, they said thank you for sharing. I'm using the chat. They said it sounds like a hug in a mug. Yes, it does. It sounds like a hug in a mug. Sure, for sure. I'm gonna try that recipe, Francisca, and I'm gonna let you know. I'm literally gonna try it on my hair. Let you know, and do I do herbal cleansing, and so I'm gonna adopt it into my my herbal cleansing that I do. People are saying that it felt like it's nourishing to the soul. It sounds like a nutritive porridge. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, honestly, you could drink that, but use that as a base and add it to your porridge. That is a way where you can incorporate drinks into your food, add it to your soup. Heck, if you're making some soup, that can be, we've heard of bone broth. That's honestly what it sounds like. It could be like a substitute for a bone broth, and you can actually to cook with, and then throw your greens in there. Y'all throw your greens and your other stuff in there. And that would be great. And you got some pot liquor, pretty much. Thank you so much for sharing. Admin just dropped Francisca's links in the chat, well, everyone's links in the chat. So you can go and click. It's a lot in there, but you can go and find Francisca's offerings. I do want to mention that Francisca also just put on a herbal gathering of her own, I believe in California, and still showed up today. It was yesterday. She
Wow.
had an herbal gathering like this, but in person, and still showed up here for us, for you all. So just thank you. So much gratitude for being here and showing up and sharing that recipe. I would love to move on to April. Do you have any recipes or herbs, anything that you want to share from your culture?
Yeah, so I brought two things with me today to share, and they're not really recipes, but one of the things that you were sharing, Abril, when you were saying about like the land connection and all of us as herbalists having all of these connections, and what I really like to bring that down to is the mycelium network, the mushroom network, the way that we, like, for me, I see the mycelium network as the original World Wide Web, the original way of communicating with herbs all across the world. And a lot of the times I reflect back, or I receive messages from my ancestors that there were herbal gatherings that were happening from time immemorial, where people were passing down recipes and traveling and sending that. And that's that mycelium web. And so that's why I feel like when the land is calling us, we're tapped into the messages that are being received from the mycelium network. And so today I brought with me one of my favorite little mushrooms, psilocybin mushroom, because I've been doing a lot of integrative work, and this is one of my favorite psychedelics that I crested into when I was really young. That's really supported me in healing addiction and also depression. And so I was just like reflecting on all of what we were sharing and how like the mycelium network really brings us together. And I feel as though that's what psilocybin does. It really brings a holistic approach to someone's body and healing and changing. And so with the whole world shifting and really understanding psychedelics as a great medicine, one of the things I wanted to talk about is a little less of a recipe. I can show you guys how, because it's so simple, but how I really think that flower essences are really crucial to our integration from not only traumatic experiences, from a lot of different shifts and changes, but also psychedelic experiences, because flower essences are the highest vibrational frequency of the plant. When it is blooming, it is fully in its highest expression. It's attracting pollinators to create the next life, right? To create the seed or the fruit or whatever else we're going to end up bearing and having information from. And so flower essences really are able to work on a psychological and emotional level. And I just think that this is super powerful. And this is why you have Agua de Florida, which Francisca, I took your class like a bunch of years ago and took that class from you on how to make it. And then there is flower baths, flower bathing, healing with flowers, offering flowers to the water. All of these things exist in our lineages, in our ancestral lineages, because of how flowers heal. In the Victorian times, there was a whole way of communicating through flowers, like whatever flower you were wearing as a boutonniere or offering to a lover, express the whole way of thought and idea and intention. And so the flowers are here for us in doing that. And so the flower essence that I really have been enjoying the most, that helped me create and finalize what I call the Celestial Petal Society, where I have a bunch of people each month and we get together and we talk about the flower essence we're taking every new moon. Peony flower essence has been the one that has really come through as the most like magical one that I have been enjoying the most at this point in time in my life. And it has this way of magnetizing our ancestors, magnetizing what's meant for us. It brings ease and grace. It allows us to fall into this place of creativity and abundance and a way of magic of operating. And it's very deeply feminine, very calling in what is needed. And so this flower essence has been one of my all-time favorites for integrating, because I feel a lot of the times when we have really big shifts in our lives, that could be either going through a death portal, a birth portal, psychedelic experience, immense travel that's bringing up new experience, being on a conference like this where you're receiving so much information and you're given so much like light and lift, right? It's like having a flower essence like peony, being able to bring that in and having that every day can help with integrating what you're magnetizing, what you're intuiting, what you're bringing in with ease and grace and flow and abundance. And so it's one of my all-time favorites. And I wanted to share really quickly how to make flower essences, because I feel as though people think a lot of times herbal medicine is so far out there, like it's so hard to do. But in fact, a lot of the times it's one of the most simple things and it's just natural. So when you find a flower that you know doesn't have any pesticides, you could be growing it yourself, or you could wild harvest. You take this flower in the morning time, unless it's blooming at night. There's all different times you can do it. And you cut the flower and you put it in a bowl of water, and you actually don't need a lot of water. And you want this bowl of water to be a glass bowl, ceramic, it could be a clay bowl, whatever kind of energy you want the water to contain. Because while you're making a flower essence, everything that's happening in that moment of making the essence, what you decide to put it in, the energetics that are going on outdoors, if it's sunny, if it's raining, whatever astrological placements are in alignment, is all being put into this water at that time. So that's what makes flower essences so special. You can really choose time periods that are very important for your own self. You can talk to someone like me who makes them and works on creating them with their like specific astrological alignments that are in alignment to the flower as well. And so then it sits in this water for about 4 hours, and that can be in the daytime. And then sometimes I have flowers that I love to do that bloom at night. And so, you know, it's at nighttime as well. And then you strain the flower after 4 hours, you put it through a strainer, and then you have this water left. And when you're putting it through the strainer, it's to get rid of the flower material, any dust, anything from it being sitting outside. And then you add a preservative. So at this point, you can choose any type of preservative. It could be a vinegar. One of my favorites has been a shisho vinegar. I also really love mezcal. Like mezcal is my favorite, but a lot of people do brandy. But there's something about mezcal for me that really fits into my medicine. And so what you're doing is you're putting a preservative into the water, because that flower essence water is just that, it's water. So eventually it will evaporate. If you want to use a flower essence in a bath or immediately and just put it over yourself, you don't have to preserve it. You can just use it immediately or put it in a bath water. And then once you have that what they call the mother essence, which is the water and alcohol or preservative, then what you do is whenever you want to make a stock bottle, you take 7 drops of that mother essence and you put it into a bottle, a smaller bottle, and you add more water and you add more preservative. And then from there, you can even take it down to a dosage bottle. So again, if you're using something like Sister Ivy or Datura or ayahuasca flowers or something that's really potent or powerful, even tobacco flowers, you can dilute it again. And then that way you can work with plants that sometimes could be not safe for ingesting because the dilution factor is so intense. So that's another reason why I really love flower essences. And the other thing about it is that they're safe for no matter what medicines you're on. Most of the time, they're not going to be on a physical level where you have to be concerned if like someone's taking medicines. You can use them for your dogs, you can use them for cats, you can use them for your kids. It's very usable in all situations. You don't even have to put them in your mouth. You can just put them on you and your like different pulse points as well, and you can use flower essences. So I just really wanted to share that and share my favorite little mushroom that's keeping the mycelium network going for all of us and sharing information.
Thank you. I would love to learn more or know more. Can you speak more to the benefits of flower essence and why someone would want to adopt flower essence into their herbal practices? What can we get from using flower essences?
That's a great question. So the most like amazing benefit from flower essences is that they're working on a psychological and emotional level. So when we are feeling in any type of way, depression or anxiety, stress, fear, abandonment, failure, or even in like elated, great feelings and emotions, flower essences will really help align our emotional and psychological picture. So instead of feeling in stress after using flower essence every day for a while, you begin to watch how the stress falls away, right? Depending on which flower essence you're taking. And so it, for me, is one of those medicines that's really subtle. And I am a huge believer and practitioner on going into the subtle levels and really picking up what's possible to heal in those spaces without having to hit with heavy hitters all the time, which is why I really love using flower essences for psychedelic integration or integration from intense heavy hitting experiences, because then it works on the subtle level where that shift has happened, but we may not have picked up on how we've been affected or what something's been happening. So imagine when you walk into a room and let's say something really traumatizing just happened, but you weren't there for it, but you walk into the room and you kind of feel like something's weird and off, right? It can set off some weird, subtle responses within yourself where you go into these either programmed behaviors or trauma-informed behaviors, where a flower essence will be able to counteract that subtle change and shift and realign your spiritual self back to homeostasis and back to where you want to be. And sometimes some of us haven't even experienced what it feels like to really be in a subtle vibrational frequency in our body in the purest form. And when you get to that, it's quite amazing. So that's why I love flower essences.
So I'm so interested now. I would love to know, because I mentioned to you in one of our meet and greets how I'm also on a journey to get my mental health back in a place of calmness and peace, because throwing on this conference is a little chaos. So I will be taking a break afterwards to, just rebalance out my nervous system and again, get my life back to a more state of calmness. I would love to know, can you, and Monique, I'm going to mute you. There's feedback in the background. So I'm just gonna mute you. And then when you're ready, just hop off. But I would love to know if you can use the flower essence with the psychedelics. Like if I'm microdosing, can I do both, or is it either or? Do they serve different functions?
You can use flower essences while you are microdosing. You can use them at any point in time. I've even made tinctures where like there's actual real herbs in tinctures, and I made herbal blends and I've added flower essences into them, like just a couple drops to be able to infuse a herbal medicine or oral remedy with also that added potent experience of a flower essence. So you can do it while you're microdosing.
Awesome. And for everyone, because you're going to be ingesting flowers are heavily sprayed with pesticides, excuse me. So make sure if you're doing this, you're getting flowers that are not sprayed with pesticides, because we don't want that into our bodies. So if you go outside, if it's somewhere on the side of the road, maybe not use that, but if it's somewhere deep, into your land, and then use those things that we harvest from the side of the roads is polluted with, a lot of that exhaust from cars and things like that. If it's, by land, a golf course, that's heavily sprayed. So just be conscious if you do this, just be conscious of where you forage and harvest the plants from. Thank you, April, so much for sharing. I'm like, tell me more.
Well, I want to add one thing about the pesticide thing. You also want to think about when you are like, if you're purchasing flowers from a store, that they could have also done pesticide as well. So to be really mindful. And the most like awesome way is to grow it yourself from seed, even if it's one plant and it only gives you one flower. You don't need thousands of flowers to make a flower essence. All you need is one flower. So, even if it's in a little pot that you grew from a seed at home, it's like, then you tell the seed, like the intention. If you're like, I want to make you into a flower essence, and you plant that seed, that flower is going to be so potent, even if it's one flower, even if it's a half of a flower and it just shows up with like one end here. And, even if it's imperfect, it's going to be perfect. So it's so simple. It's a simple remedy. And I really invite and encourage everyone to like plant one seed and see what happens and make a flower essence from it.
Thank you. And I know you mentioned you work a lot with psychedelics and mushrooms. People are asking in the chat for more resources to dive into psychedelics. And I'm like, y'all are giving other people's resources. We have someone right here. We have someone right here who dives into that. So if you do want to learn more about psychedelics and how to journey through psychedelics, our admin is on it. The admin dropped her website, and they also just shared some other offerings specific to flower essences. And then also, just like we did not Ajay, go click on her YouTube channel and go and get her subscriber list up so that she can grow her YouTube channel. We just put it there in the chat. So I do want to move on to Monique. I would love to hear more about what you have to share. Can you share something from your culture, herbs, recipes, both? I'm all ears.
Okay, so today I'm going to be sharing on two plants. This first one, this is called verdolaga in Spanish, Verdolaga, and this is a weed that it pretty much grows anywhere close to the ground. It doesn't grow flowers. It is a plant that people put it in their foods, like in some like fancy little markets. You might see this there. People like to put it in their salads. It's very good for people that are diabetic because it helps you intake potassium without spiking your blood sugar. It is also an antioxidant. This is a plant that belongs to the Orisha Obatala, which Obatala is, yes, Verdolaga, Ignacio. It belongs to Obatala, which is the Orisha who rules the consciousness, the head, and he was tasked with creating the humans and earth within the religion. This is also good for the bloodstream, and it's also good for people who want to increase their appetite as well. Okay, but today, what I'm going to be showing you to make is sometimes in the religion we have something that's called head rogation. A head rogation is something that is done usually by an elder to clear your head when you're like, say you're a hothead or you're somebody you just need to calm down, or the place you need some clarity. There's a particular soap that we make for that purpose. Okay, so but first, the thing that we're going to make is a bath with this herb. So verdolaga is this herb. We're going to get like a palangana, a little basin, fill it with water, and you'll put the herb in there. You probably can't, I don't know if you guys can see it. But basically the idea is to crush the plant with your hands in the water to extract the essence of the plant, right? We don't, as Osainistas, we don't boil our herbs. We feel that it could lose some of its essence that way. So we rip the herbs in the water. So for this soap, we would take that plant, rip these herbs in the water, and then after it, you can set that water aside and strain it, because we're going to use the leftover herbs in the making of the soap. Okay, or strain the herbs that we used here in the making of the soap. But you can take this water with the essence that we just extracted, and you can add to it some type of heavy, strong, like rum or aguardiente, or I'm just using Tito's vodka, okay? And you just pour it in there, and you would maybe light a tea light candle and charge this up either on your ancestor altar, or if you have the Orisha Obatala, you could charge it with Obatala or Elegua. And you could take that as a bath from the shoulders down. After you've cleansed yourself physically, you would take this bath and pour it from the shoulders down, and you would dress in all white afterwards. Okay, so that's a cooling bath, just a calming down bath. But to make the soap, you're going to start with a white soap base. I like using a brand called Earth Organic because it's organic, but you can use any white soap, Castile soap, goat's milk soap. This is the coconut milk base. You're going to grate the soap, like I have here. I don't know if you can see it. You're just gonna grate the soap down, and you're gonna add to the soap a little bit of cocoa butter. You're gonna grate the cocoa butter as well and put it in there. Then you're gonna add to this some cascarilla. Cascarilla is crushed eggshell powder mixed with holy water, and it's used for the same purposes, for cleansing, purification, peace. Some people call it the peace powder. We add it to spiritual baths. We use it in a lot of different spiritual workings. So and it crumbles very easily in your hands. So you just take some of this and just crumble it right into our, where I'm making the soap. Then we're gonna add the last ingredient, which is called guinea pepper. In Spanish, it's atare. Guinea peppers, they look like this. They're little, I don't know if let me see if I can let you guys see it. They're little tiny, can you see my hand? Okay, they're little tiny little seeds. This is from the wisdom plant. So, we want clarity, we want wisdom. So we're gonna put 4 of these in this soap that we're making, because 4 is the number for Obatala, 4 and 8, but we're using 4 for this. When you're done all that, you're just gonna kind of mash it up, and you're gonna form little balls, little round balls. And I have one here that I already made. It's gonna look something like this. Okay, it's not cute, but it works. Okay, so and this you would take and you would wash yourself with this soap from your head to your toes. While you're washing yourself, you're calling in this cleansing, this purification, the clarity. And it's a one-use soap, so that's why you're gonna make so many of them. You can store it in the freezer, and you can use it like that. Okay, so that's one recipe I got for you. Now, of course, I have to give you a recipe for Oshun, because today is Oshun's feast day, so we celebrate her today, Maferefun Oshun, right? So she's the goddess of the sweet waters, and beauty and wealth and all of those things. So I'm gonna be talking about another plant today. Now, don't laugh at me, because I live in Michigan, so it's kind of hard to have these tropical plants to stay and look so pretty, but I'm gonna show you what the leaf looks like. This is called Caisimon de Anís. Caisimon de Anís, and it's Caisimon de Anís, Anis. And this is what we're gonna do with this plant. This is Oshun's herb. This one we're going to be making, and what am I gonna make first? Okay, first I think I'm gonna show you how to do the these are some candles that I prepared with this herb. So you're gonna basically dry that herb. The best way to dry it, you can take your herbs and tie them, hang them upside down. They'll dry perfectly like that. Or I was also taught to put them in a bag like this. There's a brown paper bag, twist it up, put it in a dark space, and it'll dry like that without molding. Okay, so that's a good way to do it. But we're gonna basically make a powder. So you're gonna take that herb, Caisimon de Anís, and you're going to ground it with your mortar and pestle into a powder, or if you wanna use a bullet to do it, that's fine too. To this powder, you're going to add some cinnamon. You're gonna add some, and we're also gonna use some, what is this? Manteca de corojo is palm oil, and either coconut oil or almond oil, which I have right here. Okay, so you're gonna get 7 candles, and you're going to make this powder. After you crush the powder, you added the cinnamon. You're going to, I like to put it on a piece of aluminum foil so it doesn't make a mess. And I like to then rub some oil, these oils on the candle, and roll the candles into the dry powder. Every day you're gonna take this candle. If you have Ochun, you could do it with Ochun. If you don't have Ochun, you have any type of deity that you work with that brings in love, you're going to work with them, or even your ancestors, you could do this, okay? Take these candles on a white plate, and every day you're gonna make a petition to that particular deity that you're working with. And the petition you're asking is to bring in a love that's good for you, because you can attract, but we want quality. We want the good ones, So you're gonna make this petition for 7 days in a row. At the end of the 7 days, you're gonna collect any leftover wax and you're going to take it to a body of water, like the river, okay? And you're going to leave it there. But of course, when you go, you know, you introduce yourself. If you know how to invoke Oshun, you know your Moyuba, you say your Moyuba. You're going to take you could take a bell to ring to call on the deity of the river or whatever body of water you're going to. Everything with respect, right? With respect and honor. And we don't take without giving offering. We're not doing this without giving offerings, but we will take that wax, put it in the water, and we're making our petition again, and we're envisioning as it takes away that wax, that it's taking away all the bad relationships, and that it'll bring you the good one, the one that is for you. And so that's the one simple little working that you can do with Kaisimon Danise. The other one is a court case, for court work. So if you got some legal troubles, you're gonna do this working with Ochosi. Ochosi is the Orisha of justice. He's a hunter. He will pinpoint things for you, problems, people, hunt your enemies down. So you're gonna get enough of these leaves. You're gonna get the fresh leaves of Kaisimon Danise. And you're going to, if you have Ochosi, you're gonna put these on top of him in his pot, or you can take them out of the pot, put them on a plate. And you're going to let the herb, the leaves, like maybe 7 of them, you take, because they're big leaves, but you're gonna have them dry on top of Ochosi. You're gonna put some cascarilla, which I showed you before, and you're gonna put some of that on top of him as well. And you're gonna take a piece of a paper, a brown paper bag, and you're gonna write down the names of the judges, the whoever's involved in the court case, okay? You're gonna put that on the, now, hold on. Only do this with Ochosi if you are innocent. If you are guilty, you go straight to jail. For real, you're gonna go straight to jail. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. But you could still do this if you are guilty. You can do it with Obatala, but not with Ochosi. But today we're talking about Ochosi. And I know you guys are so good. You don't commit crimes in here. You know what I'm saying? So after it dries, you're going to ground that into a powder. You're gonna ground it into a powder. You're gonna put some more, mix it with the cascarilla to make it like a strong powder. So I have one that's already made right here, and I have it in a little vial right there. Okay, so you're gonna take your paper that you wrote the name on. You're gonna put some coconut butter on it, and you're gonna go in and you're gonna put some of that powder in that on that piece of paper. The day that you go to court, you're gonna take it inside the courtroom, and you're going to blow or sprinkle some of that powder inside the courtroom. Now I know sometimes there's not sometimes, always there's a police officers in there, so you might be afraid to do it. That's fine. If you can't do it, can't get it inside the court, you can go the day before and you can leave it at the front door of the courthouse, or you can discard it in a trash can outside of the courthouse. So that's a court case powder that will help you. And like I said, you could do the same thing if you are guilty, just work with Obatala, okay? So those are the recipes that I have for you guys today from my culture, and I hope that you guys enjoyed them.
Yes, we got not one, not two, 3 recipes. Yes, y'all were in for a treat. And I know we had some slides for you. Did you want me to share those slides?
Oh, you know what? If you can show them if you want to, but I totally forgot for you to put them up there. But yeah, actually put it up there so that people can see the spelling of the name of the herbs if they want.
Yeah, as you were talking, I'm like, was she saying this herb? I wonder if I should share it, but she didn't tell me to. So not, but I did have it up. So people were asking, so the first recipe that you made was using purslane. Everyone was asking.
Purslane, yes.
Y'all go outside. This herb is
everywhere
as a weed, but we don't say that here. We're learning to decolonize our verbiage. It is a medicinal wild edible. It is a superfood, actually, and it is outside in your yard. I promise you. I have this growing in abundance on the land. This herb is actually edible as well. Why am I presenting your slides? Girl, go ahead.
Well, yeah, because I've already said this, that this is true. It is edible. It's like I said, you can add it to your salad. It's a very high in potassium, vitamin A, vitamin C, good for diabetics, for digestive issues. It increases the libido. It's used in many workings and ebosas in the religion. And so, yeah, that's verdolaga. And then the next one is the one that we just talked about, Caisimón de Anís. And this one is anti-inflammatory, helps with bloating, inflamed prostate. Oh, yes. I'm so glad you put that aside. So actually, my godfather used this herb to put his father's prostate cancer in remission. He's been in remission for the past 12 years. And the way he treated it was, like I showed you, to make a tea out of it. And you rub the plant with, rip the plant in the water. I would recommend for this one, if you're going to use it as a tea, you're going to use spring water, and you would store it in the, strain it and store it in the refrigerator for no more than 7 days, maybe between 3 and 7 days. And you want to take a half a cup twice a day, a half a cup of this twice a day. And it really helps with any kind of cancer, because it helps to kill the cancer cells. It make sure, though, when you're drinking this tea that you made, that you smell it, make sure it still smells fresh and everything's fine, before trying this herb. So
Thank you for sharing. Someone is asking for images. Just type in purslane in Google. It will show you the actual herb. It literally is found everywhere outside. I'm in the southeast, and it's prolific here on the land. You can 100% forage for that as well. Monique, I would love to know how, if we didn't write these recipes down, do you actually have these recipes written down somewhere?
I can get that to you. Yeah.
Yes, because actually what I'm gonna do, I have a retreat coming up in a month. So I'm like, we're gonna make some purslane soap. This is amazing. I was just thinking, so, with my retreat, we do, I am taking herbs from the land and harvesting them and making herbal medicine. And you just gave me, I would love to adopt this new recipe that I have. I wasn't using purslane just for food, for in our dishes, but it's an amazing to actually adapt. So yes, if you could write those recipes down and send it to us, that'll be amazing. I would enjoy those. For everyone asking for slides, anyone who has shared slides and they shared it with us, it will be uploaded. So within 72 hours, you all are going to get access to all of the recordings and the replays, and it's going to go for the VIP folks. You're going to actually have the recordings. It's going to be hosted on our platform. It's going to be set up in course style. So every single presenter is going to have their own recording where you can click on with their topic, and under it, we're going to include the presentation if they shared it with us. So this will be its own section, and we're going to include Monique's slides. Yes, we have a whole setup over here. Y'all not getting no bootleg experience. But you all go back, you all have lifetime access. So when you go back and watch it, I want you all to be able to dive into it, like it was an offering, of course, because honestly, a lot of this, these classes, they are classes in essence. So thank you so much. We do have time, but that's why I told y'all we have a little bit of wiggle room when it comes to the length of our sessions. I would love to ask you all if you could share more, if anyone wants to learn more. I know a lot of people are interested in psychedelic mushrooms and in flower essence. And if you want to learn more from Monique or even you, Francisca, I would love for you to go around and mention your offerings. If someone wanted to journey more with you, from what you shared, can you share some offerings that you currently have? I do know I've been telling Francisca she has a retreat coming up to Peru that I've been eyeing, and I'm fingers crossed that I will be there, hopefully. I'm trying to make it. So yes, please share, starting with Francisca, your offerings.
Thank you so much, Abril. Yeah, we certainly have a journey coming up in November 15th to the 25th. It's a yearly journey that we take to Peru to work in the Amazon with my teacher, Amelia Panduro, who's a Shipibo grandmother and who shares she carries a lineage of she's a perfumera, she's a perfumerist. So she does work a lot with agua floridas and with flowers. And that is a 10-day retreat. It is dedicated or oriented for healers that are interested in learning more about how to work with these therapies. So it's very instructional. It's not just personal growth. It's actually showing you how to work with these plants. So and we're almost full. Would love to have you come with us, Abril, if you can make it.
I'm about 70% sure that I'm gonna come. I do have a question. So I know you open up. This is how y'all know I'm interested in going, because she actually has. I know she has 2 retreats. You open up a second one for the first. Was it for the first week of November?
Yeah, we're actually not doing that because we had some other opportunities come up here. So we're only going to have that one retreat that is later in November.
Is that one? Because I thought it was sold out. You said it was sold out and there was no room. So there is room.
Yeah.
And
There is room. Yeah, there's a couple people that couldn't make it this time. So that we have 2 spaces left, you know.
Same fun. I'm gonna go and book after this because I wanted to go and it was sold out and I'm just like, ah, man. And then I didn't know if I could do the one that was on the first, as I'll be journeying to Thailand, spending some time there, and it was cutting it close. I have a class out there that I'm learning some traditional Thai medicine. And so I'm like, hopefully she has some openings. So please, some people might contact you afterwards. Just know that I want one of those spots. So I'll contact you.
I'll save it for you for sure. And just, know that this is something that we do yearly. I've been doing this since 2018. I met my teacher in 2016, and we've been doing this since 2018 every year except for 2020 because of the pandemic. But if you can't make it this year, you're always welcome to join us in the future. We also go to the Andes to work with my kiddos teachers there. And then we have some programs happening both online and also in person here in California. I have my 9-month program that starts in February. The registrations will open on October 1st. And that is a 9-month, primarily online program. It's about 30 sessions. It's 9-month intensive. So every week we meet. And we also have 5 in-person retreats within that program. It is called Life as Medicine Way. And it is a combination of South American folk medicine, plant spirit medicine, ancestral medicine. And yeah, all around, like getting to initiate with the plants and learning more about how to incorporate this lifestyle, working with all the different medicines that we have around us and through us, the medicines that we carry ourselves. I also have an apprenticeship where it's a more in-depth program. It's a 2-year program working one-on-one with folks with plant spirit initiations that are very, it's an adapted practice from the traditional plant dieting that we do in Vegetalismo in the jungle. So they are plant initiations. We spend a month learning from a plant directly under guidance with lots of rituals and doing really deep work. Each of these initiations, like I said, is a month. People go through 9 initiations altogether through those 2 years. And through that program, they also get to learn how to hold that space to support others in that initiation process. So those are my 2 key programs. And we also have a whole bunch of things that we sprinkle in between, both online classes as well as in person. Plant Spirit Talk is the name of the, I don't even know. I'm hesitant to even call it a business because it's so much more than that. It's really a community that we have formed now. So yeah, please tune in. You're welcome to visit plantspirittalk.com or visit us at Plant Spirit Talk on Instagram. And if you join our mailing list, we'll be sending you information on all of our upcoming programs. So thank you for this opportunity to share.
Thank you. Could you also share, I believe you have a resource in the BIPOC Healing Collection, which is dropping today, y'all. Yeah, I haven't said anything about it. I haven't spoken on it much, so I'm excited. It's dropping today in like an hour or so. So you actually have a resource. Can you share what your resource is?
Super exciting. Yeah. I am sharing just a little worksheet that is based on the work that I've done with my teacher, with Amelia, that shares recipes for making agua de Florida. It's the resources for this process called florecimiento that we practice. The florecimiento is, we see it as a spiritual process that includes like deep spiritual cleansing, but getting to a place where we can flourish, you know, and through that flourishing is very similar to what April was sharing about flower essences. And I actually have a recipe there also, how to make flower essences, and also spiritual baths. So yeah, check it out. I'm so excited for this resource. So beautiful that we get to learn from so many amazing teachers. So thank you for putting.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing your resources, Francisca. April, would you mind sharing more about what you do? How can we find you? What resources you have for those who want to dive more?
First, I want to say, get Francesca's Agua de Florida, like in the bundle or whatever we're calling it, because I took your class a bunch of years ago on it and it is magical. So I just want to praise you and just say thank you for offering that. And anyone who is in here and is on the fence about that, I don't think you should be. I think you should just go ahead and do it. All right. And so I'm offering a couple things. So one is a rolling membership every month for Celestial Petals Society. So anyone who is interested in flower essences, what that looks like is that as a group together, we travel through a flower essence that I create. And we all work with that with a month, for a whole month, new moon to new moon. And there's ritual, a guidance, and then there is a time to come together to speak with everyone who's been taking the flower essence, so that we can share our experiences and the subtleties of certain things that happen, so that we can see where there's overlap. And you really get to learn about the flower essence and how it changes your life. And it's a great way to be guided through a flower essence journey, because you also have access to me, and any questions you have, you can bring it up in the group chat. And then in January, I will begin offering all of my yearly programs. So they begin enrollment starting pretty much now. In the beginning of January, there's Herbs as Teachers, which is a 5-week small class where you get to learn about 4 different plants by ingesting them and having experience with them. And it's a real good introduction into the way that I like to teach herbalism, through experiential learning. I'm a very experiential learner, and I'm really good at books and science and stuff, but I use all of that for just research, and I don't try to keep it in my head. I go through experience. So Herbs as Teachers is 5 weeks. And then I will be enrolling for Botanical Mystery School, which is also a 9-month program. We take the summer off and we hang out in spring and fall. And it is more of a program that is setting you up to prepare for clinical herbalism. You will end up leaving knowing 26 plants, roughly 27 really well, because you have a summer project. You get to pick your own plant that you hang out with for all of summer. And so it's a way of studying and preparing for the clinical. You can either do clinical with me, or you can do clinical with someone else. You know, I'm always trying to help those who come through a program with me know where to go next. If I'm not the one that's specializing in what you want to learn, I like to make sure everyone that studies with me knows where to go, and learn what they really want to learn, so that they can bring their gift to the world. And then I have a clinical program that's going to be starting next year. So if you have taken a lot of herbalism classes and you've done a lot of basic herbalism and you want to see if you can apply and be in the clinical program, I will be teaching that. And then there is another thing that I do called Gnosis. which is a 6-month program. I do it virtually and in person, and it's an integrative process. So anyone who is doing psychedelics, doing microdosing, or have been through a lot of traumatic experiences. I also have a lot of mothers and people who have helped other people cross over into death, who show up. And so then that's something that I offer called Gnosis. Someone asked clinical meaning like professional medical setting. Yes, so clinical as in where with the American Herbalist Guild, when you want to showcase all of your education and everything that you've done and your hours, you're able to report it to them and get peer reviewed and then be able to be considered a clinical herbalist. There is no actual clinical herbalist certificate or program in the United States that you need to practice herbalism, but it just takes it to the next level. And when I do clinical, we have a clinical roundtable and we're always seeing clients and we're making sure we're getting trained in being able to ask the right questions, which is really, really important, and pairing the right herbs for the people that show up. So that's what I offer amongst working with people one-on-one. If you're feeling called to work with me in a deep way and you want all of my attention and you don't want to do anything that's group, then I also have clinical offerings in that way and psychedelic integration. And so you can DM me on Instagram with any questions or email me or message me on YouTube or find my website. I'm on Substack. I'm always Antler Alchemy. So it's like a deer antler. And so you can find me in any of those places, ask me any questions about anything. You can get on my calendar as well, and we can have a one-on-one discussion about what direction you want to go in and what's best for you. And I just like the way that I work is I will always guide whoever comes to me in the best direction for them, if that's with me or with someone else. I want you all to experience the best education or the best path for your herbal studies. And to me, that's more important than if you work with me or not. So, and then I do have an offering in the, what are we calling it again? I apologize.
No, the BIPOC, I just drew a blank. The BIPOC Healing Collection.
There we go. In there I have, it's called Awakening the Ancestral Whisper, the Sacred Power of Flower Essences. So it's a way of guiding you. It doesn't have the recipe of flower essences, but it guides you into journal prompts and a meditation with flowers so that you can go deeper. So that's all.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. And for the sake of time, Monique, can you also share your offerings and also what you're offering in the collection as well?
Yes, I offer, I have an online spiritual community on Patreon where I teach all things spiritual. We talk about everything, like from crystals, to your altar, setting up the Boveda, working the Boveda, different magical workings and things like that. And that's a community that we have there. I do once a month, I do live chats there. I also offer online in my Botanica, I offer all kinds of different kinds of readings. I'm a seer, so I do all kinds of readings. I also offer holistic and spiritual health investigations to assess, if you're suffering from a spiritual illness, like if you've been under the attack of witchcraft or you just have an ailment going on and you're looking for a holistic remedy, we can look into that as well. In the bundle, I have my book that is all about spiritual home cleansings and recipes with spiritual baths, tips from an espiritista and osainista. And it basically talks about how to help safeguard and protect your home, and just practices that you should have to maintain your good spiritual hygiene. And it has recipes, bath recipes for yourself, for children, and things like that. So this is going to be included in the bundle. I do
a whole book in the collection. I didn't know that.
It's the whole. Oh yeah, it's the whole book. It's the ebook. Yeah, and lastly, the Pum Pum Magic class. I forgot to add that in there. So it's a class that teaches women how to maintain good womb health and how to heal your womb, but it also touches on sex magic using, that's our our sacred feet where we manifest from. So I teach on that too. So all those classes, and I have more holistic or the healing herbs class. So similar to what I taught today, I have a whole class of that online. I have a Boveda class that's teaching the secrets of the Boveda, how to set up your altar, whether you're a beginner, you know, with venerating your ancestors and working with your altar, or advanced level. It's a class that I think will be good for everyone.
Thank you. You
Mhm.
know, I thought we were gonna have time for questions. I'm like, that's an hour and a half, we'll have time, but that's crazy. We actually filled up the whole hour and a half. Let me see if we can possibly pull in one question. Let's see. We have questions. Someone is asking, Monique, do you have any resources on the herbs? So purslane, we mentioned, they're asking seeds. How do you get these herbs that you mentioned? Purslane is outside, go outside. But
Right.
you can also get purslane. You can buy the seeds from any retailer. The other herb that you mentioned, is it an indigenous herb? Can you get those seeds
Yes,
here?
you can get those. You can get those. You can get it at pretty much any botanica. One that I like to get my herbs from, that I know they always have pretty much what I'm looking for, and they're legit, because it is Original Botanica in the Bronx. They have fresh herbs there that you can get, and it's online. They ship them as well.
Awesome. And you also mentioned, Monique, about the herbs and their connections to the Orishas. Do you have any resources if people wanted to know, like, which herbs have which connections to the Orishas? Do you give any?
That I've learned a lot, like I said, from my elders, but there is a really good book on Afro-Cuban herbalism that you can find online that has all the herbs. You have this book, Avril.
I just
I saw
looked over
you. I don't have it with me right now, but maybe I
Herbalism?
know.
I think I have it. I'll show it
Yeah,
to you all.
yeah. So you can show them, yeah, that book,
I
and
have that book.
that's a very good book. You know, different elders are gonna say sometimes different things, because I found some differences in that book with what I was taught from my elder as far as who they belong to. Sometimes you'll see differences there, but you just have to go with what, you know, what you're taught.
And then this question is for April. The water, does the type of water matter when using the flower essences and extracting the essence?
Yes, so if you can, you want to use spring water. And yeah, I sometimes use high pH water, but yeah, it really matters. And I think I saw someone ask a question about the alcohol, if you suffer from alcoholism. That's where like a shisho vinegar comes in play, and you can also add a little bit of honey when you are doing your stock and dosage bottles to kind of lighten up the flavor of the vinegar. And you can do that with the alcohol as well. And you should be using a small amount of alcohol where it shouldn't feel like you're like drinking it.
Awesome. And also, just throughout, you know, herbs and herbalism, you can always, well, I wouldn't say that with flower essences. We don't want to boil out the qualities of the actual flower essences, but I do know that I use my tinctures, and if it has alcohol, I do boil it out to boil out the alcohol content. So thank you all. First of all, how did you all like this new style of a session? I feel like with my you know, ADD brain, this kind of worked because, you know, it wasn't just us listening to one person. We kind of broke up, you know, different sections, and we got, you know, multiple sections at one time. So it was easier to follow. I know sometimes, you know, some speakers, you know, it can be a little, if you suffer from your brain being all over the place, it can be a little hard to kind of focus at one time. And someone mentioned it felt like a community. It was a dinner party. Yes. So if we came back for part 3 next year, again, I said, I don't know how many herbalism conferences I have in me, but if we came back, would you all like to see this, you know, on day 1 or even more throughout the day? I actually love this. It seemed like a really easy, you know, way to share medicine. And also from the speakers, how did you all like it? Did you feel, you know, like it was relaxing? Did you like the flow of this session?
I did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I was just here listening, like, oh yes, okay. It was great. Thank you, ladies, so much for sharing all of your stories. This is an amazing session. This honestly should have been the end of the day. I was saving it for the end, but because our next speaker is located in New Zealand, and they're 9 hours behind us, we had to move our last speaker. She's going to close it out to the end of the day. It's now 8 a.m. in the morning over there. So that's why we had to push this one up a little earlier. So I'm going to bring her on, but I'm going to close this out with you all. Wait, we asked everyone what your favorite colors is. So whoever you identify with today, I want you to put the colors in the chat. So let's start with Francisca, your favorite color?
Orange.
Orange. April?
Black.
Black. And Monique?
My favorite color is red, but today we're doing yellow for Oshun.
Yes, Oshun, go ahead. Y'all already know what to do. Show some love. Your favorite speaker, multiple speakers, whoever session resonated with you, go ahead and show that in the chat. That is for you all. We love this. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Gratitude. Thank you.
Much gratitude.